How important is originality to your writing? Of course, it's important, but there's more that you should know. Hello, writers, and welcome back to Spooky Writes, your channel all about writing. I'm your host, who is secretly a ghost, Kamal Onor. Now, today we're talking all about originality and how important it is to your writing. So make sure if you get any value from this video, make sure to give it a good thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, it helps it out a lot. And with that said, let's head into the storm.
It's the raven's call, the werewolf's howl, the vampire's bite. You search through the woods for safety, but all you find is... Okay, rights.
So we all know that our writing should be original. We should all be striving for originality in our stories. We should all be trying to come up with new concepts. We should be trying to come up with new original ideas. We should be trying to come up with new original characters. Of course, we don't want to copy someone word for word because that's plagiarism and you can get sued for that. Just ask Vanilla Ice.
What's happened with that?
Rap music is sampling, and people who don't understand rap music, they say, well, he borrows this or steals this. Rap music, every major rap artist in the world samples music.
But one of the big things that I think gets in the way of people even starting to attempt to write or even wanting to try and become writers is the fact that they get so concerned with their idea having to be original. They have to feel like they have to reinvent the wheel. They can't tell a story that's a simple love story. They can't tell a story about a boy coming of age or a woman coming into her own. It has to be, every aspect of their story has to be original. It has to be built from the ground up. And this is one of the reasons why I recommend you stay away from world building, because you have to do so much of the heavy lifting. And in order for you to get better at writing, you have to write. You have to write, and you have to write a lot. So this is one of the big things that I think blocks so many beginning writers, and it prevents so many even intermediate writers from continuing to write, to continue to seek publishing, to continue to improve their craft, because they get so concerned with this idea of, is my story original enough? I'm so concerned about accidentally copying someone else's story, accidentally copying someone else's character. So you can definitely be influenced, you can definitely be inspired by other works, and as long as you are not copying their language and copying their words word for word, and as long as you are doing the best attempt that you can to make your stories unique, to make your characters unique, you don't want to be worrying too much about originality. Originality should really be coming out through your voice. It should be coming out with the way that you create stories and the way that you craft your own language. Again, I recommend that you do not try to reinvent the wheel. I recommend that you write the stories that you want to write. Tell them the way that you want to tell them, and the more writing that you do, the better you will get at writing, the better you will get at storytelling. You will start to build your voice. You will start to understand who you are as an author and what type of stories you want to tell. You will naturally gravitate to these types of stories through the process of writing. And if you have to start out by writing fan fiction, or you have to start out writing stories that are similar to other authors, there's nothing wrong with this, especially early in your writing career. So important to have writing that is just for yourself, and this is how you improve. You're not going to be publishing the work that you're writing to improve. You should be writing work just for yourself. You should be writing work for the sake of writing. You should be writing work for the sake of trying to figure out what works and doesn't work. And this is how you are going to improve. So originality is one of those things that I think is overrated. It's one of those things that so many beginning authors get so concerned, and it prevents them from writing. So if this is an issue that you are facing in whatever stage of writing that you are in, if you are facing an issue where you can't sit down and you can't write a sentence, you can't write a story without being concerned of, am I copying someone else? This sounds like another character that I already think I know. You can take pre-made characters and twist them in a unique way. You can give them some unique twist that makes them new in a nuanced kind of way. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Reinventing the wheel takes a lot of work, and if you're so concerned about originality, and if this is why people, if you're concerned that people aren't reading me because my idea isn't original enough, I have to come up with some grandiose, unique way of story. I have to create an entire genre. Mary Shelley was able to do that because she was writing 100 years ago, or whenever she was writing a long time ago, and it's so important to understand that every story has been told at this point, and there's nothing wrong with retelling stories. So don't be overly concerned with this idea of my story has to be 100% original. There can be no crossover with anything else that has ever been told. If that's the case, no one would ever write another love story. No one would ever write another story that's similar to Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet has been done 1,000,000 times, and people are going to still continue till the end of time. People are going to be recreating Romeo and Juliet's plotline. They're going to be recreating stories that have been told already because every story has already been told. So don't be overly concerned with originality in your writing. Again, especially with some of your beginning writing, especially with the writing that you're doing just for yourself, because this is writing that you're not going to show anyone. This is writing that should be just for you, and this is practice writing, and it's so important to have practice writing. It's so important to have writing that is just for yourself. This is going to be how you improve, and you will look back on this writing years from now and you will go, I remember when I thought this was the best that I could do. But as you improve, as you continue to grow as an author, you will be astounded with, there's so much that you don't know until you know it, kind of an idea. And so originality, if originality is preventing you from starting writing, if originality is blocking you from being able to write any kind of story, I'm going to give you 100% permission to write whatever story you want to write, and don't be concerned about originality. You shouldn't be copying people's work word for word, and do your best to tell a story in your own unique voice. And this is why I recommend the number one thing that you can do to have the highest chance of success as an author is to discover your voice, is to know who you are as an author and stick to that conviction. Tell the stories that you want to tell, and this is going to help you improve. When I sit down to write a story, I'm not concerned at all about originality. I'm not concerned because I know that every story that I sit down is going to be unique. It's going to be fresh on the basis alone that my voice and my unique way of telling stories, my way of describing stories is unlike any other author out there. Now, I'm sure there are people who I've been influenced through some of the authors that I've read and some of the authors that I grew up reading. I can certainly point to influences in my work, but the stories are 100% me, and that's where the originality comes from. The originality comes from you as the author, so don't be overly concerned with originality in your writing, especially early on. And with that, keep it spooky.